From The Children of Malkov by Ramona Carver St. Joan, Malkavian elder and practicing therapist. Other kindred have difficulty understanding what it is to be Malkavian. It is simple, and perhaps comforting, for them to think of us as the mad ones and be done with it, but that is hardly an adequate summation of our experience of the world. It can be tedious to try and separate our colleagues from their romanticized and calcified narratives of mental health, but one does try. The first thing to clarify is this, that our vampiric blood does not drive us mad, nor does our quote-unquote madness grant us our uncanny abilities. We are gifted with a unique perspective on the world. We do see things differently, and this difference has created friction with our fellow vampires since the very beginning. We have never quite been welcome, and we have never quite felt safe. This is why our clan so readily became a haven for those experiencing mental illness. We were learning how to cope with our marginalized position, and found that we could help others cope as well, using the various techniques we had developed to avoid being murdered by polite society. Over time, these elements, unique vampiric perspective, neurodivergence, and coping techniques, have converged to form what one might call an intersectional praxis, which undergirds the clan as it exists today, and helps Malkavian initiates work through difficult psychological episodes by shifting and embracing, pardon the term, different understandings of reality. Rarely can outsiders be bothered to understand the art and nuance of our techniques, but after so many generations, one can hardly be surprised by the ignorance of one's peers.
In the decades and centuries since its great tragedy, the city of Salem, Massachusetts has become a sanctuary for the strange, the unusual, and yes, the supernatural. Werewolves, vampires, fairies, mages, and other more esoteric things now walk the streets in relative safety. And when the mortal population gets too curious, they do what any community would do. They form a committee. Welcome to The Chimera, a role-playing adventure podcast. Our campaign this season is called Gallows Hill, and it takes place in our version of the World of Darkness, the setting that encompasses Vampire the Masquerade and all its sibling products. I'm Vin LeBate, and I play 8-Ball, a vampire with mental health issues and an assortment of fake IDs, and joining me this season are...
I'm Braden Lamb, and I play Mew, a mummy cat who's into urban planning and sacred geometry.
I'm Jeffrey Bard, and I play Jack Foxglove, a werewolf shaman who coaches the Salem High School football team, the Salem High Witches.
I'm Ethan Bremner, and I play Mother McCree, an immortal Irish witch and American Civil War veteran.
I'm Kacey Smith, and I play Truly Reynard, an animalistic fairy running from her past, sometimes literally.
And I'm Kelly Weissman Asbruce Jackson, the storyteller.
Now, let's get started.
So, now as we begin to bring the party back together to full strength, can we start with, I think, Kacey, you said that Truly was going to reach out to 8-Ball and just sort of let her know what's going on?
Yeah, she's just going to send her a quick text because both Truly and 8-Ball have phones that it says side-eye at Mother McCree that says... hey, good morning. There's a little alarm clock emoji. We're down at the courthouse. I'll get you caught up when you get here. But investigations have gone. period.
There's probably about a 3-minute lapse, and then you get a text that just says, no caps, oh boy, and then a pair of bats.
Okay, so the plan is people are just going to assemble / hang out at the courthouse
Yeah.
at All Hallows Hall.
So, when we all get to the courthouse, Mother McCree will take you all aside and say, well, I spoke to one of my coven, and she said that these were of the symbols all around town. The old ones. I trust her. She's pretty smart. For her age.
Coach adjusts his hat a little bit. Mixed face. What old ones?
Oh, you know, the symbols around from the history. Oh, you're too young. Anyway, throughout the history of this town, there's been a handful of symbols appearing, stone tablets and books and whatnot all over town from before we all settled here, apparently.
Mew's eyes, his pupils dilate, and he swishes his tail, but shows no other outward sign, and nor does Amal.
Does that mean anything?
Well, it means that...
Like, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it means that our friend Ishmael is dabbling in stuff from well before he came here. I take that as a bad thing, but who am I to judge?
Possibly before any people came here.
That's my estimation.
So we're at All Hallows Hall?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 8-Ball is probably like getting off the boat just now and like sort of half jogs up. Okay, what did I miss?
Well, it seems you're missing a watch at this point. Can't you be here on time?
I literally have to wait until the sun is down.
The sun's been down for a while now.
I don't live on this island. Also, for some of us, space is an immutable concept.
I walked here just like everyone else.
Also, I have a watch. It's on my phone.
Oh, damn.
Can we get to it? What is it? What are we getting to?
Justice.
Well, I was just going to ask my uncle about those symbols. I saw him in his house once. Figure he's got some answers there. But
the symbols from the corpse party thing.
Yeah, those.
Okay, what happened there?
Well, we discern that Ishmael has been dabbling in some dark works with these symbols, I guess. I've established from a member of my coven that they're from the Eldritch times, from the before times, all the symbols from the stone tablets and the books and whatnot.
And our good friend, Sewer Rat, he doesn't like him, makes his head hurt. I'm figuring that's about the same for the rest of the spirits.
I suspect Jack's uncle can give us a little more insight. The person who identified these symbols for me, she's a little young. Jack's uncle's a little more seasoned and certainly more connected to the Foxglove history.
But anyways, he's trying Ishmael, I think, right now, or going to. I think he's been busy all day, didn't call me back. But, yeah.
So that guy's the actual murderer? Is that or is this a different unrelated trial?
Oh, no. Ishmael's totally the murderer.
His soul was filthy.
Is that admissible?
No, but as you know, they were kind of looking for him anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm asking.
Could you tell why his soul was filthy?
Mew shuffles his shoulders a little bit. No.
Okay.
I mean, he did try to burn down the city once. That's a good indication of filthiness. Wouldn't you agree, dear?
Well, yeah, my point is that dirty souls do not automatically equal murderer we are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with a murder investigation, based on my knowledge of television, is that even if you find someone who's guilty of something, if that something isn't the murderer, then there's still a person who did a murder that you haven't accounted for, and that's not a card you want to have floating around.
Nah, I think we got him. It's the right guy. We got the bones from dead people. And they had those ruins carved all over them. Truly saw them.
And Jack followed his scent from the murder scene, so...
It's definitely the guy.
At the very least, we can start with him.
We have some nice circumstantial evidence. All right. Good work, team.
8-Ball looks a little bit twitchy, and she reaches down for her magic 8-Ball, swirls it a bit, turns it over. Listeners, the question 8-Ball asks here is, should I trust their judgment? And the reply she receives is, outlook not so good. Sucks in her breath a bit. I think we want to keep our eyes open.
I mean, just keep in mind, Fenton's got at least as good of a nose as I do. He'll be able to sniff it out.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't just only sniff one thing.
I sniffed all the things. I was down in the sewers. It was pretty gross.
Okay, that's fair. I am glad I missed that part. But I meant that in sort of a larger, more of a metaphorical sense.
So while you're waiting outside of the courtroom for things to get underway, the first person who comes by is not Fenn Foxglove, the Chief Justice of the Admiral Courts. It's Graymalkin Foxglove. Jeff, Graymalkin Foxglove is your thrice great uncle. He is I
really like that name.
The shepherd. He's one of the shepherds, one of the good shepherds. Specifically, it's the good shepherd who has the assignment for Salem proper. Right? There's these geographic assignments for the shepherds, and he's the person who is the shepherd for Salem proper. And unlike most foxgloves, he's not Aratha.
Okay.
He's a vampire. That's why he's your thrice great uncle and still running around.
Gotcha. Is that a weird thing for the family or a cool thing for the family? Okay.
I mean, definitely a weird thing for the family. This is not, I mean, it's a unfortunateness that, of course, they've had more than a century to move past, but a family of werewolves is not happy about one of them being turned into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
But he is nonetheless a foxglove. So, description, Graymalkin Foxglove appears as a youngish man with dark brown hair, pretty aggressive side part, slightly long, really bushy mustache, and like a slim but long goatee. I mean, that goatee, like a really aggressive soul patch, I guess. I'm not quite sure what to call that.
Wow.
Like a really long tuft of hair in the center of the chin, but otherwise, bushy mustache, chin tuft, otherwise clean shaven. He comes down the hall and looks like he's going to be waiting sort of along with you and gives a nod.
Great.
Hello, 8-Ball.
How's things?
I suppose I can't complain. All quiet, as they say. Other than Ishmael's going to have his day in court, I suppose, night in court. But other than that, seems like a pretty run-of-the-mill night.
Why are you here, Graymalkin? Or uncle? Would I call him uncle? What do I call him? Great uncle?
It's really up to you. I think it's very much like, I think we've established that the Foxgloves are pretty formal, but he's outside of the family system.
Okay.
So it's definitely your call about what you think Coach would call him.
Would I have worked with him at all? Like,
he's a shepherd
doing a shepherd thing.
So you've definitely had interactions with him because of that.
Yeah, I don't think I would necessarily be like hostile to him, like outright, unless he did something to deserve that. So I'm just gonna go and like treat him like I would treat anybody else who's like a friend, maybe outside the family, but not inside, and not be a dick to him. So Graymalkin, is there something going down tonight? Why are you here?
It's just an abundance of caution thing. I mean, Ishmael's kind of a little bit of a tough guy. Felt like there should be a little bit of extra security around just in case. Just in case.
Just in case. That makes sense. Cool. When's all this supposed to go down anyways? I thought I'd see Fenton here. Or Uncle Fenton.
He should be along any minute. I'm actually also surprised he's not usually late for his time in the seat.
Yeah, I mean, I left a message for him. He didn't get back to me. He's usually pretty good about that stuff, but All right, well, we'll just keep waiting.
Maybe give him another call. I'm starting to get a weird feeling.
Yeah, sure. So Jack brings out his ancient phone and calls Fenton up. Lets it ring.
Goes straight to voicemail.
Like straight to voicemail? Like doesn't ring or...
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Fenton, we're at the courthouse just waiting for you. Waiting for that Ishmael trial to start. Was hoping to get a word in with you before you sat down to the bench, but I guess we'll just see you when you get here. Bye. Yeah, no answer.
There are other judges here too, right? Or is he the only one presiding now?
So it depends a little bit, and there are reasons why this wouldn't be true, but on an average night, it's like they each take an average day or an average night. They each take a turn, right? Mm-hmm. There are reasons why they might gather in a larger group or why they might overlap with each other, but in general, there's one judge kind of on duty at any given time.
So if the next judge coming on duty hasn't shown up yet, would the other one stay, or would they be like, well, I'm done, I guess so-and-so will be along?
Is there overlapping like staff also? Like, are there clerks or like, the folks who, what other sort of business
actually
is like
make things run?
Yeah.
Right now, the courtroom's vacant. So they're sort of waiting for court to be in session again.
So like, as we're looking around, 8-Ball's looking a little more nervous as sort of the time passes and the conversation goes back and forth. And at one point she just like leans over to Truly. I'm going to go do something I hate. Hold this. And she takes the mesh bag with the magic 8-Ball off her belt, hands it to her, and like disappears down a hallway to find an empty conference room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use a power I just bought.
Yay!
It is called Mad Sight. I just scrolled past the actual name of it. Mad Insight, which is a dementation power. So what 8-Ball's going to do is find an empty room, and like, it's weird because it's a dementation power. So it's this like, it's a little bit related to insanity, but it's also kind of magical. And at least for 8-Ball, the way it works is like she dives into her problems, and like there's sort of an interface between her Malkavian nature and the vampiric nature in the blood. So it's sort of like cracks into the magical abilities that are inherent in Vitae. So she's going to find a room and essentially induce a panic attack. And like, she pulls out her phone for a bit, pokes around, finds, some things she's got saved, some things she knows will get to her, and like, freaks out for a bit. And this is a power that has two different sort of related effects. One is that you can take a bonus to certain things, and the other is that it can induce visions. I think at least the way she does it, the visions don't always happen immediately. They don't always happen at all. But so essentially, like, you can let me know if something happens or when something happens. But for the other effect of it, I am just going to take the for the insight effect, I'm going to take danger sense for one scene because I'm not doing anything else specific. So she does that for a bit, and unless she specifically spirals into some kind of vision, once she sort of works herself back down, she's going to rejoin the group.
Okay. So she's just basically given herself a magical panic attack.
Oh, she's giving herself a regular panic attack.
That has magical dimension to it.
But yeah, like using certain training that she's had to try and push that to sort of break through into a different state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the way they talk about the visions in the system is that it can be something like a direct vision, or it can be sort of the effect of certain other powers. Like temporary aura perception, like feral whispers from animalism. So it can be something that like affects what she's seeing as things are happening, or it can be more like a vision.
Okay. And Kelly, we have been, I mean, over time, the rooms and the structure of the All Hallows Hall is something we're all familiar with.
You know, it's still relatively new, so I wouldn't necessarily assume that everyone is super familiar with it. But yeah, I mean, it's been here and you have access to it, so it's not.
But you've also been ditching meetings.
Yeah, I've been ditching meetings, to be fair. But would it be safe to say that for the most part, we've seen the courtrooms, we know, or courtroom, presumably, it's probably only one. Are the meetings held there? I mean, the meetings are held in the Grand Hall, probably.
Yeah, so there's like a Grand Hall. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in this building, and I will be honest and say I haven't mapped it all out. We could do that if we wanted to, but it definitely includes a main court and probably a subsidiary court in case for some reason there have to be two different proceedings held at the same time. The Great Hall, which is where the meetings, the conclaves happen. Remember that the mayor's residence is actually part of this building, although it's way off in a separate part of the complex. There's also an office for the master or mistress of the crook, the head of the Good Shepherds. There's a small jail.
I was going to say there has to be some sort of holding facility.
Yeah, which presumably is where Ishmael is right now.
Right. Okay. If more or less conversation is over and we are in a position of waiting for the judge, Mother McCree will excuse herself and tuck herself up into the most, perch-like location she can find in the large courtroom that she knows of. So, like, if it's she's going full sniper mode. She's in full vigilant mode at this point.
So you want to like, are you interested in finding a place off the floor then?
If possible. I don't know. I have never been in a courtroom. I don't actually know how large they can be. Well,
it's not like a conventional courtroom in the deepest sense, right? It's a courtroom made by magical monsters.
I wonder if part of the question is how weird are you willing to look?
Actually, I guess the question is how weird is the courtroom? Is the courtroom like vaulted ceilings, or is it like a small chamber?
Almost the whole place is vaulted ceilings. So
that's
yes.
what I figured.
And I'm going to say there are some, there's definitely like, it's vaulted ceilings. It's a large room. It's definitely got height to it. And there's probably something, maybe like a cornice or a platform or something that you could stand on. It's not something that a normal person would be able to access, right?
Right.
But that doesn't matter to you. So
no,
if you want to be in like a visually commanding view of the space, you can get up there. Sure.
Yeah. And while stealth would be nice, I fully understand that that's probably not viable. It's just that she wants to, exactly as you said, she wants to be able to see the room as best she can and be able to react from that vantage point. And, However, again, even though I accept that she can't be stealthy, she is stock still. When she's in place, she is trained to basically not move.
Okay, so you take up a position sort of near the top of the ceiling. And, there's enough time here for 8-Ball to walk away, do her thing, come back. Mother McCree to mess around and find a weird place to perch inside the courtroom. I just want to check in and see if Mew or Truly, if you were doing anything in particular during that time. You don't have to be, just don't want to leave you out.
No, I don't think he is expecting to get anything more from Ishmael, so I don't think he'd visit him in the jail. He'll just sort of start poking around near the mayor's residence, kind of making little mental notes on like, okay, we'll keep that. That's got to go.
Okay, so you're probably like a hallway or two away if you're going to be doing that. That's fine. Truly
Might go, if there's time for it, go down to the jail, basically just to reassure herself that Ishmael's there. It's basically just like poke her head in, see if he's there, and if he is, she'll just go back to wait.
Okay. So the jail is like, it's small. It's like 3 cells, right? They don't do that much holding of people, and nobody that's held long term in Salem. There are several different potential legal outcomes for you, but long term imprisonment is not one of the possibilities, or at least conventional long term imprisonment isn't. She gets as far as sort of the entrance to the space where the cells are, and the door is closed, and standing outside of it is someone that truly knows. This is Shepherd Sir Jalen Scold. Tall fellow, probably like 6'8", maybe. Bluish skin. This is his Fey-mean.
Sure.
His mask isn't up for whatever reason. Bluish skin, small horns, perfectly white hair, wears a ornate gold breastplate pretty much everywhere, and carries a big mace around that's hanging from his belt. Extremely handsome for a troll. This is a hot troll. And he's just standing outside the door, kind of keeping watch, waves to Truly as she comes up and says, Ms. Raynard, how are you?
Hey, Sir Scold. Doing all right. How about yourself? You've been keeping watch on the cells today?
Well, they called me in because we have this very important prisoner, I guess, and it doesn't hurt to have a little extra muscle around. They're having a conference in there right now, but it should be over soon, I think.
They're having a conference in the jail cells?
Chief Justice Foxglove and Mayor Espinoza are conferring with the prisoner, I guess.
Huh. That's a little bit of an odd thing, don't you think?
It's unusual, but, I mean, he's been declared a public menace, so it seems to me like if they were going to issue a death sentence, they both have to sign off on it. It's probably leading that way. Don't tell him I said it if you talk to him. I mean, that's just a guess.
Have they been in there a while?
Oh, he looks down at his watch. 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Is there a window on the door? Or it's just a solid door.
Oh, everything in this place is solid doors.
Okay.
There are skylights in some of the vaulted spaces, but other than that, there's not a lot of internal visibility. It's very much like a thing is open or it is closed.
Okay. I mean, do you mind if I just truly just kind of like inches closer to the door to see if she can just sort of put her ear up to it?
Let's see. What do I think that Scold's gonna let you put your ear up to the door when he's not supposed to let you in. He snickers a little bit and he's like, okay, but you gotta get out of the way real fast if they start to open the door again.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be embarrassing for everyone. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
No, you're putting your ear up to the door? Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is some kind of like perception sort of roll?
Yes. It's the fun new roll where there isn't a perception trait anymore.
Right. So what is it? What's the
Wits plus composure.
Wits plus composure. Her clarity is undamaged, so she gets a +2.
Mm-hmm.
And she also has heightened senses. I want to see if that gets her anything. And she also gets one more extra dice because, she gets 2 more extra dice because her word is 2, and she gets plus her word. So 6, 7. So 10 dice.
That's from the heightened senses is the weird bonus?
The word is the word is from heightened senses, and there's just a straight +2 from having normal like clarity that's not decreased.
Cool.
All right. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
6 successes. So this is a very heavy door. I want to underline that.
Yeah.
But you rolled really well. You've got some magical effects in there. So She puts her ear to the door, and she can hear 3 voices going back and forth. There's some sound of agitation. Sounds sort of like an argument. The only clear word that you can make out, because it was definitely said at a higher volume than everything else, is chimera. And after that, it's just 2 voices, right? It's like there's an argument. It's a 3-part argument. It's very clear, not necessarily all that's being said, but that there's like 3 distinct voices. There's a flow to it, right? When there are 3 different people arguing. And someone says the chimera word loud enough that you can make it out very clearly. And then it's just a 2-party argument from that point on. And it's only for maybe another, probably like about a minute. And then you can hear steps approaching the door.
So Truly, scrambles backwards and kind of takes up a spot in your scold and, just says, so, how's the weekend for you?
Not too bad. I'm putting in one of those outdoor pizza ovens. He brings up a picture on his phone. He's like moving the rocks himself. 1 or 2 of them are kind of like beefcake shots of him moving the stones around. Anyway, he's got enough time to show you a couple of the pics before there's 3 raps on the other side of the door, and he opens it again. And standing there are Mayor Espinoza and Chief Justice Fen Foxglove. Fen Foxglove is a relatively tall man of just old enough to be distinguished. He's got that silver fox look, slightly swept back, gray hair. He consistently and also today wears very nicely tailored suits that look just a little bit too old to be in fashion. Wears a pocket watch somewhat distinctively. But there's the mayor and the chief justice. Espinoza says, Ms. Raynard, fancy seeing you here.
Yeah, we were just hoping to have a word with Judge Foxglove. And we knew he'd be here this evening. Myself and some of the other members of the committee are here. Well,
I think that our business is done. Wouldn't you say so, Fenton? So he's all yours. The mayor has been sort of walking and talking this whole time. Like he's in a rush to get somewhere. And he quickly sort of, as soon as there's a fork in the corridor, he's going the other way. But the justice is headed back towards the courtroom where everybody else is waiting. So he's happy to walk along with Truly in that direction if that's where she's going. Ms. Raynard, you have some business you need to discuss before the court. He does take out a very new smartphone and glance down at it while he's listening for Truly's answer.
So Truly just tries to get a glimpse of the 3 cells before the door closes, just to sort of see, that was just a little bit weird. What's Ishmael doing, and is he there still and alive-ish?
Through the door, through the gap in the door before it is closed, she can see that 2 of the cells appear to be empty, but in the middle cell, Ishmael definitely is there. He is thoroughly restrained on a large metal frame, like a dolly you might use to carry boxes, except larger and more robust than that.
It's like a Hannibal Lecter thing.
I was saying Hannibal Lecter.
Well, like a Hannibal Lecter thing, but larger and more robust than the Hannibal Lecter thing, right? Like heavily reinforced, larger wheels because he's a much bigger guy, and it's if it wasn't built to accommodate him, it was built to accommodate someone of his scale very easily. And he, also like Hannibal Lecter, is muzzled.
So there's just a small shudder from her. She kind of gets a glimpse of that. And then she walks with Judge Foxglove and says, we came upon a couple things I think Jack kind of wanted to ask you about. So I'll leave it to him to kind of give you the details. But he left you a message. I don't know if you just weren't able to to get back in touch.
Oh, it seems I missed 2 calls from him. I'll have to apologize for that. I don't like to be tardy in my correspondence. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Ms. Raynard. He puts his phone away and continues towards the courtroom.
Where's Skull? Did he just stay by the door?
Yes, he stayed by the door.
Okay, so she gives him a wave and a thumbs up about the pizza.
Nice seeing you, Truly. I'll let you know when it's finished.
I like me a good pizza pie. Okay, yeah, so she'll walk with Fenton back to the others or in the direction of the courtroom.
Hey, Kelly?
Yes.
Technically, that dementation power has a roll associated.
Oh, okay. That's important.
You want me to roll that?
Yes, please do.
That is wits plus occult plus dementation. So that's 3 for wits, nothing for occult, and 2 for dementation, because that's what you need to have that power. Oh, good. I got some.
Yay. 2 successes.
But I think it's a binary thing.
Oh, it's like it works or it doesn't work. Got it. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't think there's a scale to it.
Mm-hmm.
It just has ways to go bad.
Yeah, and basically it might trigger visions, but that's up in the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so unless you say otherwise, like it actually says specifically in the power description, it's often hard to tell if it's worked or not. So basically she's got danger sense on and is otherwise, like when she comes back, looks a little frazzled, maybe a little disappointed. But yeah.
So when she comes back, the first of the party that's kind of in the corridor there is Mew. Just in case you want to have any interaction.
Probably not. It's just a nod. And actually she's looking for Truly because Truly has her 8-ball.
Got it. Yep. But she went to the jail cell, so there's going to be a delay in that.
Yeah. It's a nod of, hey, we both know where we are now. And then she keeps going. Unless Mew has something to say.
Before she walks on, well, I guess Amal has been speaking here. Anything?
Nah. Extremely non-committal shrug.
I see.
Okay, is she going to wait for Truly, or is she going to try and find her?
If she's not there, she will. Who is there? Is it just Jack at this point in the hallway?
Jack and Mew. Yeah,
okay.
And Owl.
Do you guys know where Truly went?
The jail, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. She just walks off in that direction.
Okay, so it's a few twists and turns to get to the jail. On the way there, corner of her eye, she just talked to Amel and Mew was right there. But there's one time where she turns the corner and she thinks, wait, there's Mew right there, right? Like out of the corner of her eye, she's like, wait, why is Mew over down that corridor again? And then when she looks, because that's odd, of course, there's nothing there.
She pauses, reaches down for her 8-ball that's not there, takes a second, and then says, oh, God damn it, and then goes off towards where she saw the extra cat.
Okay. So she follows the glimpse.
Yeah.
Okay. She turns a corner, gets another glimpse of another, it looks like it's Mew again, like all the way at the other end of the corridor and going down another hallway. That happens 2 more times, and then she's in the room where the grand hall where the conclave occurs, which is, big and imposing, but otherwise empty. There's nobody obvious inside of it at the moment.
All right. She walks into the room, takes a deep and entirely unnecessary breath, and just is just gonna sort of pace it, trying to see if there's something she should be picking up on.
It's a big circular room, right? Set up like a Greek or a Roman amphitheater in that it's like steps going down. But then there's a raised dais in the middle. It's like steps going down, ring of floor, but then a raised dais in the middle. And that raised dais is where the vision spot is.
Oh.
And everybody knows that. That's public knowledge.
Yeah, she puts 2 and 2 together and goes up there, stands for a second, looks around, like, because I don't think she's ever played with that space before, so it's her first time being in that spot. So she sort of looks around to see what the room looks like from there, and then just sits down on the floor.
Okay, so she like looks around, but on the dais, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She looks around, sort of takes it all in. She's standing in the spot, sort of feeling it out. She sits down. She's down for a beat. And then I think from her perspective, there's just an incredible rush of sensation and sensory information. From an objective perspective, which there's no other characters on screen, but just like what it would look like from the outside, her head flies back and her face points upward, and a bright white light pours out of her eyes and mouth for a moment. So she has a vision, whole bunch of flashes of sound, picture, a lot of different things going on. Let's see what there's a bridge and a group of people standing on the bridge. And then the bridge collapses and the group of people fall away into black nothingness, lost. Then she's just staring into blackness for a while, and then, like it's rotating up from her perspective, like a sphere that's turning so you can see something on it, the black and white symbol of an 8-ball comes into her view, right? So she's looking at blackness, and then this 8 rotates up so that she can see it, and a whole mess of black cats walk back and forth and over and up and through the white field that makes up the 8. After the black cats sort of pass, she can hear the braying of a goat and the hissing of a snake. There's a loud blaring of trumpets, and as the trumpets blare, her vision is a kaleidoscope of angelic figures with golden wings and great brass, those long, like vuvuzela-looking trumpets that are associated with some images of Western angels. That seem to, the kaleidoscope turns in connection with the trumpet noises. Very distant blank faces on the angels. And the trumpet blaring eventually gets so loud that it clouds out all the other sensory information. She's just hearing sound now. There isn't any visual component associated with it. And at the very end, like that just sort of stops suddenly, and she's looking at like a wood paneled wall, like somebody's refurbished basement from the 70s. And on the wall, there's a big shellacked fish that's mounted, a big, I'm so proud I caught this fish.
Yep.
Mounted on a plaque on the wall. And the fish turns its face towards her and says, "Better not tell you now." And then the vision ends, and she's sort of back in her body, and the sensory overload is done.
Okay. She's gonna head back to the group at a quick pace.
Okay. She gets back to the group like one corridor turn. Basically, just before she's back to the group, one hallway away is when she intersects with Truly and Fenton on their way to the courtroom. So first there's like, they meet, and then very quickly they get to the courtroom.
Okay, yeah, she throws her arms around Truly and just like buries her head in her shoulder for a minute.
Truly looks a little bit caught off guard by that, but she, kind of pats 8-ball on the back and says, okay, drinks later then?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. I got your thing. And she just sort of like moves the bag so that it's kind of up against 8-Ball's hand.
Yes, thank you. She takes it and like straightens up and composes herself, hooks it back onto her belt. Mr. Chief Justice.
Vin, is 8-Ball's other name common knowledge?
No.
Okay.
Well, there are several. The most current one is probably on some paperwork somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have at least a point of anonymity, so someone would have to have actively looked for it.
Mm-hmm. I get it. The Chief Justice acknowledges 8-Ball and says, Ms. Ball. Are you quite well?
I mean, who among us?
You make a fine point. At this point, the last corridor is turned and everybody is now together again. The whole party plus Fenton and Gray Malkin. Oh, although I guess Mother McCree is technically inside the courtroom. So yeah, but she could easily be equally present there given who Mother McCree is. So
Jack was sitting on the bench, just kind of waiting for everybody to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And when Fenton comes around the corner and Jack sees him, Jack quickly sort of in one kind of smooth motion, both stands up and takes off his hat, and holds his hat by the bill kind of in front of him with both hands, and his fingers kind of like play with the bill as he's kind of standing there. And he kind of waits for Fenton to get closer.
Fenton acknowledges Gray Malkin first and says, Shepherd.
Ooh.
And then sort of moves on to address Jack and gets in, pretty close and looks at him directly and says, I see that I missed 2 calls from you. I apologize for the delay. I was unavoidably held up. Still, no excuse. Is something the matter?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I was just trying to get a hold of you because, and Jack is like, his eyes kind of make eye contact with Fenton every once in a while. But like he usually quickly like takes his eyes down as he's sort of thinking about what to say. It says, there were some I don't know, symbols. I saw at your house once, a while back, good long while back. And it was weird because we were taking a look at Ishmael, trying to figure out what he was doing. And if he was maybe the guy who had done those murders. And it looks like he was. But those symbols that we saw you, that was left at the crime scene. And then it was also like carved into these bones. Truly, you took pictures of that, right?
Mm.
But anyways, we were just wondering what those were. It was real weird, and it seemed like something you should know before you talk to Ishmael. I think he's got something else going on. The spirits, they don't like those symbols at all. I mean, you know how those spirits are. They like everything.
Thank you. Ms. Raynor, you have a picture?
Truly pulls up the photo she has on her phone. They're pretty carefully of like the part of the bone with the symbol on them, and not the part that shows that they're in Ishmael's house while they took the picture.
Got it. Yep. Cropped. Carefully cropped. Okay.
Yep.
He glances down and says, oh, well, of course. That would be the chimeric script. You would have seen it on the reproduction that your great aunt made. Gray's sister. Looks at Shepherd Gray Malkin. It's the inscrutable mystery of our benighted Hamlet, the unknown origin of this mystical system of writing. Ishmael is a little bit of I think that he fancies himself a self-taught expert on these things. Not that I would put much stock at all in anything that he might say about them, but thank you for letting me know. I do appreciate it.
I mean, it looks like, I don't know. I was talking to Sewer Rat, and Sewer Rat didn't like it at all. It was a weird thing to see Sewer Rat kind of not want to grab something. You know what I mean? Especially something of power, which these things seem like they are. I don't know. I look at the way that these carvings are, and it seems like Ishmael might know what they're about. But anyways, just want to let you know, make sure, Ishmael didn't try anything weird with them or carve them on ear bones or something.
Yes, I've heard tell that the spirits do not like the chimeric script. There is something about it that offends them. I agree it is strange because power is generally the universal attractor, but something in the flavor of them offends. Like, oh, you know how it is when cloves get in your nose.
Yes, I do. It's the worst. And then he can't get it out, and it's just there all day long. And then you wake up the next day and you think it's gone, but then you catch a whiff of it, like, I don't know, after your shower. It's the worst. I'm glad that guy's gone.
You see, that exactly. Well, now that you've conveyed that, I do appreciate you thinking of me. Again, I apologize for not answering your calls. I hope you understand. There was something I had to attend to with the mayor, but thank you, Jack. You did the right thing in coming to me.
You're welcome, Uncle. Happy to help.
So he's going to go in and, take up his place in the court unless there's anything anybody else wants to talk to him about or ask or do. Or
Are they allowed? I mean, would it be considered weird if they came in to watch the trial?
In general, people are allowed in the court, if that's the question.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that was my question.
For instance, he comes in and he sees that Mother McCree is perched up in this cornice on the wall.
Yeah, she's not making any. Like I said, she's stealthy in that she's not moving, but she's not going to try to Yeah.
He looks up at her. Hello, Mother.
A very slow nod.
It's not the weirdest thing he'll see in a week, so he goes and takes up his position. And there's not exactly like a bench in the way of a conventional American courtroom, but there is like a place for the judge to sit. So he goes and sits there in sort of a nice chair. And shortly after he sits down, a woman enters through a side door. This is a woman with pointy ears and a large nose with a very ruddy complexion, both her cheeks and her nose. So it's, reddish. And she has a warm face. Strawberry blonde hair, kind of frizzy, worn pretty short. Like it would be a bob if it wasn't so frizzy. And she's carrying a whole bunch of different papers and a big fancy quill. She comes in and sits down or sets her things down on the desk that's to the side of where the judge sits. And then she comes over and gives him one of the papers that she was carrying and offers him her quill. He's filling out a form on the paper, or he's doing something on it, at least he's writing on it.
Is anyone else coming in to watch this case or this trial, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mew and Amal are gonna.
No. I mean anyone else.
Oh.
Like.
Well, so no one else has shown up yet.
Mm-hmm.
He finishes signing the piece of paper, gives it back to Benedetta the scrivener, the clerk, and she takes the piece of paper, she produces a stamp and stamps it. There's a glow of kind of rainbow hue around it for a second after she stamps it. And Greymalkin walks in and approaches Fenton and says, "Are we going to get started?" And Fenton looks up at Greymalkin and says, "There won't be any proceedings today." Grey just sort of shrugs at this and walks back out of the courtroom.
We were told there would be a hearing in the case of Ishmael.
This is Mew or Amal?
Yeah.
And to Fenton, to Grey, to somebody else? To whom is it addressed?
To Fenton.
Okay. Yes, I understand that. However, the prisoner declined his right to a public hearing and chose to go directly to pleading his case before myself and the mayor. Verdict's been passed. He'll be executed at the end of the week.
Okay.
Mew narrows his eyes.
Just for the record, so does Mother McCree. It's just, I was like, yep.
Yes. Good. Amal sort of looks around for a bit, gathers up Mew, and walks out of the courtroom.
All right. Anybody else going to do anything?
8-Ball will follow Mew out of the courtroom and sort of like, if anyone else isn't following, like make eye contact and nod at them to like move along. I think we maybe need to have a committee meeting.
As Jack's getting up to follow, because he was just going to keep sitting there until he caught 8-Ball's eye. He kind of goes like, "Oh, okay." Stands up and says over to Fenton, "Hey, Uncle, just so you know, that standing invitation to summer barbecues still open. If you ever want to show up, we'll see you around. Keep in touch."
Thank you, Jack. I will be there if I can be.
In a dexterity that belays her age, Mother McCree descends from her perch adroitly and lands on the floor and backs out of the room.
Truly leaves like a normal person. She just has a sort of quietly concerned expression on her face as she does.
All right. 8-Ball, you just proposed having a committee meeting? Is that like going to try and have it here? You're going to try and do it somewhere else? You're going to do it in the future? You're going to do it now?
I was going to vote for back at like the office.
Oh, right. We do have an office.
Yeah.
I'd like to try to talk to Ishmael. So I think I might want to do a quick meeting, like in a quiet corner somewhere before we leave here.
Yeah, let's grab a conference room.
Yeah, Amal/Mew kind of gathers everybody. Yeah, and finds a conference room.
Yeah, I think you can find the same conference room, in fact, where 8-Ball did her magic freakout thing. So
nope, different room.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
there's probably 2 or 3 such rooms on that same corridor. So
yeah,
you can pick a different one.
This is a building that was designed in the 70s for a city center thing, so it's got conference rooms up the ass, I think.
Mm-hmm. There's like a big table, some nice but not really comfortable chairs.
Is there a big historical mural like in Pawnee, but like way more disturbing?
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of so I mentioned the first time we saw this, or I mentioned last episode that there's like a big mural kind of dedicated to the people who died in the witch trials. This one, there's a civic mural. It's the return of the first Nesbit expedition. The one that returned with the Black Hand.
Okay.
It's like the ship. I don't. Do we establish what the name of that ship is?
Yes,
we did.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's that. We don't need to have the name right now, but it's that ship coming into harbor. There's like a gangplank. People are coming down.
The Devon.
Thank you. The Black Hand in his earlier, less insidious incarnation is pictured, although he's not the focus of the picture. Like the focus of the picture is the visual focus of the picture is the ship itself, and kind of everybody on it and everybody coming down off of it are kind of given equal prominence, even though one of them is obviously, just by difference from everybody else, kind of the most important.
So very colonial New England.
Yeah. Yep.
Look, a tall ship in a lot of detail.
Yeah. No, you've seen it before.
Look, some badly done perspective.
The remainder of this podcast will be devoted to ragging on civic artwork.
Okay, so how are we feeling about this situation? I am feeling uncomfortable with the current course of events.
Well, didn't we do our job? Like, aren't we done?
I thought we were. Something about this leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If our job is to keep the general public from being aware of our presence, eliminating Ishmael does seem to be a very practical solution.
Yeah, so if we are to confine ourselves to the notion of our job, then yeah, I would say we did it. If we, either as a committee or as individuals, think it is on us to prevent something bad from happening, then I think that is still an outstanding concern.
You think Ishmael's going to set everything on fire again?
He does seem like the kind of person who plans things carefully. It hardly seems part of a plan to get caught and executed, or it seems like it would be part of a plan. I'm not sure.
I mean, we also live in a city with a lot of weird, inscrutable shit. So, you know, the path from point A to point catastrophe might not be as obvious as someone making a plan.
I don't know.
So you think catastrophe is possible without intent behind it in this case?
Truly just cracks up at that one. She's like, catastrophe is always possible, my man.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys found that weird old script. What did you call that script? There's a name for it that I hadn't heard before. What is that?
Chimeric script. Mew visibly bristles when he says this. It has presumably prehistoric origins, not pre-European, pre-human, as I understand it. I may be incorrect. Amal is going to look into this a little further later.
Right. What is that term, though? Chimeric? That, I feel like I should know that word. Why do I feel like I should know that word?
It means a number of things. It can mean that it is composed of many pieces. It could mean literally a monster made from a lion, a goat, a serpent, I think, in some traditions.
Okay. Yeah, that's what the kid who read Greek mythology in me thought. I don't...
bullfinches?
No. So, okay, I'm going to tell you about the thing I did. I'm going to tell you about the end point of the thing I did, which is that I went to the vision point in the Grand Hall, and I might have done some John of Patmos shit. And so...
I am not familiar.
She gives you a doubtful look. Revelation. So, that vision thing works. It does the thing that it says. It was not the most helpful, but part of that was in the midst of seeing some real, again, Book of Revelation style troops of angels, also hearing the bleating of a goat and the hissing of a snake.
The lion?
I don't think so. But you can see why I'm a little twitchy about the whole situation right now. Aside from the whole criminal justice aspect.
Again, I'm a little confused as to what you think our role is here. Are we a different organization than the one we've been founded for?
No, but we're all people who live here.
Well, sure, but I'm just trying to discern what you think our job should be. Our stated job is to make sure that the mortal public aren't aware of what we're doing, which, to be honest, I feel like we've relatively succeeded at, and are moving forward on a mission to dispatch one of the more disruptive members of our society that tends to alert the public to our presence.
Okay.
Aside from that, this other issue, until we can discern more about it, is irrelevant.
I'm not a firefighter, but if my stove is on fire, I will try to put it out.
In what way is your stove on fire?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Kelly?
Yes.
What kind of role would it be to try and interpret that vision that Vin described?
Do you mean on his behalf, on 8Ball's behalf? Like your character listening to it and trying to come up with an interpretation for it?
Yeah. Or would that even be a thing?
Dream interpretation's a thing.
Yeah. Dream interpretation is a thing. Coach is a shaman. I think it's credible. It'd definitely be an occult role. What would we be pairing with occult?
Wits? Is that wits occult?
I'd take that.
I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right, I'll give that a roll. It's going to be 7 dice.
So probably if Jack looks interested, she'll give him the full details.
Yeah, no, he's definitely gonna be interested. Like anything that's sort of like symbolic, or he just kind of goes into this mode where it's not really different for him. Like talking about like symbols and things like that are just a normal thing for him.
Yeah.
So like as you're describing it, he's like, oh, that sounds like this, and this sounds like that, and that could mean this. But it's like really easy for him, where he can have a hard time kind of coming up with the right words when he's kind of like in this space. Like it seems a lot easier for him than in other like situations.
Yeah. And 8-Ball has been to enough Bible study to just jump right into it.
That's going to be 3 successes.
I think here's the way
but no reroll.
It unfolds. He's getting the details from 8-Ball. He probably asks some pointed follow-up questions in the course of the interpretation. Like, is it like this or was it like that? How did, just trying to getting down to the details. And one of the questions that his interpretation zeroes in on is, what kind of fish was it on the wall? Does 8-Ball know much about fish, Vin?
8-Ball has probably played some Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, 8-Ball has a video game fishing level of knowledge of fish.
Forgive me, I haven't really played Animal Crossing, so I'm not sure what level of knowledge that gives you about fish.
It's probably, think about it like, all right, they know what a swordfish looks like.
Yep.
They know the difference between a guppy and a bass, but they're not going to be able to tell you a very specific...
Yeah, like broad categories, sometimes inaccurately.
Sure. So I think her level of knowledge is it was a fish-looking fish.
Mm-hmm.
That is, it wasn't a swordfish. It wasn't
like a river-looking
a sunfish. I'm sorry?
Like a big river-looking fish.
Maybe. I'm not sure if it had fins on the sides, and it had fins on the top and on the bottom. It had a long, kind of slender snout, and that information is probably going to be enough for Coach, who just by dint of hanging out with a lot of spirits who are animal related would probably have a little bit more detailed awareness. Say, sounds like a cod. It sounds like it was probably a cod fish at the end of that vision. I'm also going to say, although he's somewhat aloof from family matters, I think it's fair to say that Coach at least knows what the family crest looks like in the abstract.
Yeah.
And so black cat and a goat and a snake be like, oh yeah, those are 3 things on the family crest. There's a cat and there's a snake and there's a goat. The shamanic umbral spirit milieu that Coach comes out of doesn't really do angels. So that whole symbology is kind of like, I think, weird and off to the side for him. But in the overall, there's definitely an association here with fear, danger, and menace. I think it's fair to say.
Mew has kind of gone off and started a little side conversation with Mother McCree about their mission, kind of arguing in favor of keeping the peace and protection of these hunted creatures. And more than that, he says, it is my personal mission from my judge, Mewet Neshni, who is the judge of those who eat their young, which is to say, those who betray something or someone that they are supposed to protect. It is my job to protect them from the powerful.
And let me be clear, I don't have a problem with that, nor do I have a problem with myself doing those things. But as this body is designed for one specific goal, I don't understand why we're talking as a group about doing more than that. If you, for example, want to go and figure out where all these symbols are coming from and how they're killing the innocents, by all means. As for the vampire and the werewolf and the rest of them, they can all do that, and I can do it as well. But as a group, you'll pardon me if I come from old stock, but I am a soldier. I follow my duties when I'm with the army and with my regiment. I go beyond the duties when I'm on my own.
Well, you'll pardon me from being from older stock and a philosopher of sorts who does what he feels is right.
All right. Well, then why don't we, since everything on our docket as the sanitary committee is pretty much checked off, accepting the strange aurora over the Athenaeum, then I would say that as the sanitary committee, we're all done for the night. Now, if as individuals who happen to enjoy one another's company, we, meet up a little bit later. Who's got like the biggest house of the group that truly would know?
Technically Jack probably, but I don't think that counts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jack's probably the only homeowner.
Well, no, I mean, Mother McCree owns a home. It's just not really much of a home.
And Amal owns a cottage that is about 25 square feet.
No, it's probably Jack, I would guess.
Okay. So, if, Jack, say, wanted to throw one of his little nighttime barbecues for some of his friends, and we were all invited, and we're the only ones invited, and ate and talked a little bit, well, would that satisfy you, Mother?
Well, let me be clear. As long as enjoying each other's company is not a prerequisite, I'd certainly be interested in at least discussing other matters in a different venue.
Well, I'm all for that.
I'll go fire up the barbecue.
That's it this week for The Chimera. Our theme music this season is Down Among the Dead Men, performed by Adrienne Howard, Emily Peterson, and Dirk I. Tiede. For information on other music used in this episode, check the show notes. You can support The Chimera by going to patreon.com/chimerapod. Patrons at any amount get access to behind-the-scenes setting and system info, art polls, and exclusive side games and one-shots. You can also find us online at thechimera.space or on Twitter and Facebook at ChimeraPod. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, so until then, thanks for listening.
Sorry. Say that again, because my cat walked across the keyboard, and every time
well, that's the danger.
Magical power to activate things on my computer that I don't know how to activate.
Yeah.
Sure.
But this
Your
time,
recording's still running, right?
recording. Let me double check. That's a good question. Nope. So I'm gonna. Okay. Now recording again.